Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope that everybody's gotten off to a great start. I want to try to start doing some of these inspirational videos from the Visionetics Institute on the Facebook platform. I've been working on a number of different things, and there's a rollout going on at the Visionetics Institute that is focused on expanding how the program is done, introducing a new program and event as well. So I've been really busy, but I'm sitting up and I've been paying attention to some things. And then someone contacted me on yesterday, and what they were going through and how they were feeling about things sort of kind of got me to thinking that I really need to start back sharing more on a platform where much more people will get it. Obviously, I'm trying to build an audience on Periscope. I have what I have going on a number of different channels on YouTube, but I haven't really been posting videos on the inspirational and preparation based side. I've been dealing with a lot with issues in the Black community on this personal page. But I want to talk to you real briefly about a real truth that you are going to have to really come to grips with, face, deal with, and move forward from if you're ever really going to experience any level of true elevation and empowerment and success in your life. And that is that while pain is inevitable, difficulties are inevitable, the vicissitudes of life are going to roll into your paradise, suffering is a choice. You cannot circumvent life's pain, but suffering is a choice. And there's a difference. When you encounter pain, how you respond to that pain determines whether you're going to suffer from that pain or you're going to recover from that pain. See, there can't be a simultaneous existence of suffering and recovery and healing. There has to be a point where you deal with whatever it is you're going through. Look at it, evaluate it, interpret it through the proper lens or the proper paradigm, and then move forward from it. The problem is that we tend to interpret things through the lens of a victim. While we don't define ourselves as victims, while people don't tend to see themselves as playing a victim card, the manner in which they interpret the situations and circumstances that they encounter on a daily basis is what really truly tells the story. When you're pointing the finger and you're placing blame, you're playing a victim card and you are interpreting things through the lens of a victim. What a victim is versus a victor is real simple. It's not something that somebody happens to. Things happen to everybody. What makes you a victim is when you interpret everything that happens to you from a position of powerlessness, not being able to impact what happens, not being able to have a choice on what happens or how you deal with it or what the outcome would be. See, everything is going to be determined not by the thing that happens, but how the thing that happens impacts you and you move on it, and the decisions you make because of it, and the results that come out of those decisions are going to determine whether you're elevated, whether you're empowered, whether you're left behind. It's all going to be based on how you first interpret it. See, if you interpret everything from a lens that says life is happening to me, then you're sitting around waiting on life to happen. You're the one that when you pray and you just wait, and when it doesn't happen, you say it's not God's will. When you are a person who interprets things through a lens that says life is happening to you, you're the one sitting around and hoping somebody gives you an opportunity, hoping somebody gives you a chance, hoping somebody will come along and open a door, somebody will give you an opportunity to do something. You are a person that may be very well keenly cognizant of the exceptional skills, the exceptional talent you have, but you are expecting someone to show up and recognize that talent, somebody to show up and see what you're made of, somebody to show up and say you deserve a chance. You're not creating it because life is happening to you. You don't understand that life isn't happening to you. Life is responding to you. Life is responding to the energy you emit through your thoughts, and the thoughts that you emit when you think life is happening to you are low frequency thoughts, low vibration thoughts, and they can only resonate with and attract things that operate on that same frequency. That's low frequency, low vibrations, anger, bitterness, deception, heartache, difficulty, all the things that do not produce anything of value or anything positive operate on low frequency, low vibration. If you're going to change what you're attracting, you have to change your thought processes. You have to start to develop an expectancy and an anticipation of things happening, not because someone else comes along and gives you an opportunity, someone else comes along and offers you a chance, but because you go out and create it. I often say when I'm speaking to the public that the difference between the people who succeed and the people who don't succeed is that the people that succeed wake up in the morning and they go out and they find opportunities. And if there's not one out there that suits what they're doing, they create one. They don't sit around and wait on somebody to give them anything. They don't sit around and wait on somebody to fix anything. They come into a situation. If the situation does not suit what they're doing, if the situation does not benefit them, if the situation is any way diametrically opposed to that thing that they're trying to accomplish, they change it. They move against it. They stand against it. They take the necessary steps. If it's bigger than them, they find out how they can become bigger. They don't see themselves as someone simply sitting on the sideline watching things happen as life goes by. They are participating in the process of the promise. They're participating in the process of life. You have a choice. You cannot circumvent the storms of life. You cannot circumvent pain. It's coming. But suffering, that's a choice. You're going to have to make a choice of whether or not you're going to sit in this situation. You're going to wallow in this misery. You're going to wallow in your suffering. You're going to wallow in your struggle. Or you're going to sit up and say, you know what? I'm built for this. You know, it hurt, but I've been doing spiritual crunches. I've been doing emotional calisthenics. I've been doing psychological pump-ups. I'm built for this. I've gone through some things that prepared me for this very thing. Though I don't like it, though it's not comfortable, I can withstand it. Not only can I withstand it, I can move against it. I can elevate myself out of it. I can overcome it because I'm built for this. I choose not to suffer. I choose not to wallow in misery. I choose not to be sad all day long. And I'm not speaking against, and I want to get this clear. I'm not marginalizing depression. I am a person who deals with people who have any of a number of mental issues. And I deal with people who struggle with depression all the time. And I understand the dynamics in that. But you also make a decision. It is the ideologies, not the ideologies, the ideations that you entertain the most that have the greatest prevalence in dealing with depression. Your thoughts, your posture, and your expectation have the power to help you handle depression. It is the hopelessness and the helplessness that allows depression to take root in the first place. When you understand who you are, when you understand how you're built, when you understand that your design is exceptional, then you understand that there's absolutely nothing that I cannot face. When you understand there's absolutely nothing in this life that you're going to face that you don't have the power to overcome, when you get hit, you don't become defeated. When you get knocked down, you don't become defeated. When you get pushed back, you don't become defeated. When you experience delay, you don't become defeated. What happens is when you meet those, you know I'm built for this. I can overcome it. As a matter of fact, as I overcome it, I'm becoming stronger. The suffering is a choice. What you're going to do with it, now that's up to you. But suffering is a choice. I encourage each of you to really, truly get an understanding of where you're at, what you're dealing with. If you got a situation and you're looking at it and you're saying, this is not where I want to be, and for some reason I can't get out of that, examine your thinking. It's time to shift paradigms. It's time to shift views. It's time to change the lens through which you're interpreting life and how you impact the world and how the world impacts you. It's time to establish the fact that you have the power to move the universe sitting between your ears. Your mind is the most powerful force on this universe, in this universe, most powerful force on this planet. But you have to use it in a way that produces what you want and not use it as a means of accepting negative substandard realities. You know, the one thing I love about working with people to help them achieve what they see as success or what they interpret as success, people define success differently. One of the things that's just unbelievably rewarding for me is to sit down with a person and for them to look and for them to have this small little parameter or box from which they've been viewing life, and to be able to systematically tear down wall after wall after wall of that box, or to remove the walls of the parameter that has been enclosing and encapsulating them and keeping them from experiencing life at an exceptional and extraordinary level, and to watch them breathe for the first time, to watch them soar and step out of that, and to start to think there is absolutely nothing impossible. And I think about that every time I mention the word impossible. The first thing comes to mind is Muhammad Ali's breakdown of the word impossible. You've probably heard me say it before. You probably even seen me go pull it off on my wall and read it word for word, verbatim. It sits on my wall where I can look over at it every day and read it. On the other side of my wall is my vision board, where I watch things and I look at them as I put them up there and they come true, and I take them down and add something else. I'm telling you that how you vision life. Do you realize that scientists have proven that the mind does not have the capacity to tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined? That your very imagination can create a reality that elevates you and produces different results. But anyway, Muhammad Ali says, impossible is nothing but a big word tossed around by small men who find it easier to accept the world that they've been given than to explore the possibility of the power they have to change it. Impossibility is not a fact. It's an opinion. Impossibility is not a declaration. It's a dare. Impossibility is temporary. Impossibility is nothing. I like you says, impossibility is not a fact. It's an opinion. What does it mean? It means that the saying that if you have two people and one thinks they can and the other thinks they can't, they're probably both right. Your expectations are what is going to set your reality. God, for those who have a theological faith base, the universe, those who are cosmological, and anything in between. The universe, God, whatever, is only going to meet you at the level of your expectations. What you're expecting out of life is going to determine what you get. I'm going to tell you this, and I can tell you this from experience. Life will deliver to you whatever you demand of it. Life will pay whatever price you demand of it. Life will show up. The universe will bring to you. You can have anything that you set your mind to. If you truly believe that you can, if you set your mind to it, if you elevate your thoughts, if you remove the limiting beliefs that work against what it is you're trying to have, you can do that. If you shift the paradigms of victimization to the paradigm of empowerment, there's absolutely nothing you cannot accomplish. I am not saying it's happening overnight. I'm not saying that you're going to sit down and do something and it's going to mysteriously or magically appear. What I'm saying that there are gestational periods for your thoughts, which are seeds, just like any other seed. You don't plant a carrot seed and walk out the next day and it's a full-grown carrot. What you do is you plant the seed, you water the seed, you cultivate the seed, you keep weeds from around the seed, you make sure that the right nutrients in the seed, you're nurturing the seed. So while the seed is growing and the seed is literally attracting everything to it, it needs to grow. It's attracting the nutrients from the ground. It's attracting the water that's being placed in the ground. It's attracting everything that it needs to grow out and become that carrot. That's the way your thoughts work. Your thoughts are a seed. It's planted into the soil of reality, but it has to be cultivated, it has to be nurtured, it has to be monitored, it has to be managed. And that's what you're doing as you move toward it. And what happens is the universe begins to conspire on your behalf, because the energy you're emitting is literally causing the energy in the universe to operate on your command. I'm telling you, this happens at a subatomic level. This has been proven by science, that subatomic energy responds to human thought. It's been proven. You literally move the universe with your thoughts, but your thoughts resonate based on frequency. If you're emitting low thoughts, if you're emitting thoughts of doubt, you cannot produce anything but what doubt brings. And doubt brings everything that's unwanted. With that being said, I'm about to bounce, but I just had to stop by with everything that's going on and drop this on you. I hope that you share it. I hope that you take it. I hope that you stop by the site and look what's out there. Look at some of the resources. Look at some of the programs that are available. Think about if you're able, working with me, and sitting down and literally coming up with highly specified visions of what you want in your life, and then learning how each and every one is possible and learning how you can go toward it. That is what's out there. But you have to have, first of all, the initiative to go out and pursue it. You are not going to have everything you need to have what you want right now, because if you did, you would have it, because you get what you are. But what you have to have is initiative and a belief that it's possible. And once you take the first step, then providence moves too. It's not until you make the commitment and the decision to step out and get it that providence moves. So a lot of the things you're looking for as far as how you can't understand how, it's because you haven't moved yet. You got to move. You got to take the decision. You got to believe in you so much that you're willing to take steps that you can't see yet in order to get the universe to create the providence that's necessary. See, there's somebody out there that knows where you're going and how to get you there. There's somebody out there that does this well and does that well and is able to do this, and all these things line up and give you exactly what you need, but you got to move too. One of the wealthiest men in the world in the early 1900s, cannot recall his name, but he started out working for Thomas Edison. And he became aware of Thomas Edison. He didn't live in the same town as Thomas Edison. He became aware of Thomas Edison. And he realized, I have a way of working with him. I'm going to work with Thomas Edison. If you want to learn about it, read the book, Think and Grow Rich. The story's in there. Anyway, he literally says, I want to work for Thomas Edison. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't even have the money to buy a ticket to get to where Thomas Edison is. But what he does is he literally hops on a train. I'm not talking about a passenger train. I'm talking about he jumps on a freight train and becomes a hobo until he gets there, knocks on the door where Thomas Edison is working. Doesn't at the time have anything to offer this man. He just knows that he's going to work with Thomas Edison. And by working with Thomas Edison, it's going to produce something for him that will grow him and create riches through which he can do the things he's passionate about. He knocks on the door, Thomas Edison opens. They have a conversation, and he doesn't have anything, but just the initiative that he had allowed Thomas, created a mindset in Thomas Edison, I want this man working for me. Now, over time, he was a part of a lot of the things that Thomas Edison was able to do from a different perspective. And he became wealthy in and of himself. But it started with him hopping on a train with nothing but the belief that it's possible. I'm telling you that you've got to be willing to step out. You've got to be willing to invest in yourself. You've got to be willing to take risks. You've got to come out of the comfort zone. See, suffering is a choice. Suffering is the choice to stay in the comfort zone, to stay with what you know, to hope somebody rescues you, to hope somebody comes along and provides solid footing for you to do things that you want to do. Sometimes you're going to have to step out where the footing isn't solid. Sometimes you're going to have to step out where there's a chance you're going to fall and bust your butt. That's okay. Get up, dust yourself off, stand up. I love what Les Brown says. Les Brown says that if you fall, if you get knocked down, it's okay. But try to land on your back, because if you land on your back, you can look up. And if you can look up, you can get up. That's life. You're going to get knocked down. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you got. I don't care how many people on your team. I don't care how things are going. At some point in life, you're going to get hit and you're going to get hard. You're going to have to believe enough in yourself to get up, to dust yourself off, to square your shoulders, to hold your chin up, to get yourself back in the game. When you get that, suffering isn't a reality for you. Doesn't mean struggle isn't. It doesn't mean hardship isn't. It doesn't mean that you're not fighting. It simply means that you interpret the struggle differently. You're not a victim of the struggle. You're a warrior in the struggle. And you're going to overcome whatever you're sitting and facing at any given moment. You're a winner. Doesn't mean you don't take a loss in there. It means that you win. With that being said, I'm going to shut down. I'm going to back off. But what I'm trying to get everybody here to understand is that you're going to have to make a choice in life. And you're either going to be a victim or a victor. It's only two choices. There's no in between. These are absolutes. You're going to be someone that life consistently happens to, but it's not. It's really responding to you, but it's responding and giving you what you're demanding of it, which is nothing. A negativity, a hardship, because that's all fear and anxiety brings. But when you step up and you decide, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to become. This is what I'm going to have. And you get it and it becomes so clear. That's why the vision boards are so powerful, because it gives you a true vision of exactly. It imprints it in your mind. It tells you what you're striving for. It reminds you of your why. But more importantly, it gives you this vision, and your mind literally embraces it and starts to work towards it. The reticular activating system, which is a biological part of the brain that sits right between the back of the brain and the brainstem, at the top of the brainstem, that literally filters out anything that you're not focused on, so that your mind can easily process all of the information that's taking place. Things that you don't give gravity to, things that you don't give importance to or prominence to, you don't even realize it's happening in your world. It's not even illuminated to you because you haven't given it. What you give gravity to, whether it's negative or positive, is what you're seeing. If you shift your paradigm from being a victim, from being someone that always gets picked on, from being someone that's always mistreated and left out, from being someone who can't seem to get things right, for whatever reason that you've been saying you can't make it, when you switch from that, from somebody to saying, you know what, this is what I want out of life and I refuse to be denied, I'm going to have it, then you tell your mind specifically what it is you want to do. I want to start a business, and in this business I want to do this, and in the first 90 days of starting this business I want to do this, and in this and this is the house specifically I want to live in. One of the people I study, John Assaraf, you probably remember John Assaraf from the book, the documentary The Secret, which talked about the law of attraction. But John Assaraf is an unbelievable businessman. He has done unbelievable things. He's set off billion-dollar real estate franchises with Remax in Indiana, Gary, Indiana. He's done this, he's done that. But one thing that I learned in studying and reading John Assaraf is that the vision board is unbelievably powerful. And I know that for a number of different reasons. Number one is I study outside of psychology, I study quantum physics, neuro-linguistic programming, and a number of other neuroscience, cybernetics, and a bunch of other things that allow me to work with people and tap into areas they didn't know exist and get those things straight. But the one thing that really just blew my mind was the most simplest of testimonies, but it reveals the power of vision. While he was actually building this billion-dollar business, real estate business in Gary, Indiana, he had a vision board. Even as a millionaire, he had a vision board. But he had this billion-dollar business he had built with all these real estate agents that was producing over $1 billion in sales a year in Gary, Indiana, which is a feat in and of itself. But anyway, he goes back after he shuts down and turns it over to train someone, turns it over to someone else. He botches up everything, throws it in storage, goes back to Canada where he's from, and just kind of travels for a while, doing lectures, doing some other things, doing some contract work just to keep himself busy. Then he decides he wants to move to San Diego. When he moves to San Diego, he rents a house first when he gets down there until they can find a house. When they find a house, they move into the house, their dream house in San Diego. It's lovely. They're happy. He's still got all these boxes that are inside his house that haven't been unpacked yet. He's in his new study, his office in the house, and he's checking his emails, and his 6-year-old walks in, sits on top of one of the boxes by the door, and starts to thump his feet against it. And he asked him nicely to stop, and he said, "But what's in the box, Dad?" And he said, "Well, I decided to spend a little time with him, so I decided to unpack the box." He unpacks the box, and it's his vision boards from all the years past, and he's going through it, and in this is stuff that he packed up at least 5 years ago, and when he was at Remax, and he's unpacking it, he's looking at it, he said, "Oh, there goes that Benz I said I wanted when I first started, that I've since bought, driven, enjoyed, and sold. There goes this business I started and brought it to profitability and earn that. There goes," and it's all these things, and he goes, "Wait a minute, what's this?" And there's a picture of a house, and he's going, "This must be a brochure from the Remax days. How did it get in this box?" And then he reaches down to grab the picture, and it's attached to another vision board. He said, "Wait a minute, the house is attached to the vision board." So he stops and he looks at the house, and the house that is on the vision board is the house that he just bought and he's living in. At the time he cut the house out of a magazine, he didn't even know what the house was. He cut it out, and it became so fixed in his mind that he was literally creating the reality, and the universe was moving and responding and creating step after step after step that had to take place for him to end up there 5 years later. That's called a gestation period, but that's called power. That's the power of your mind to move the universe. Scientists have proved that subatomic matter literally responds to human thought. I'm not going to go into the test that they did, but I know the test that they did. It's a part of quantum physics. But the bottom line is, at a level beyond what you can see, the universe hears you. What are you telling it is the question. Like I say, I would love to actually sit up and work with some of you guys. I can't work with everyone. I don't work with everyone. There are prerequisites to working with me. And one of them is price, but that's not the important thing. Another very important thing, and probably the most important thing, is commitment. How committed are you? If you're really truly ready to go out and get something, because see, my thing is, it makes no sense to me to take your money if you're not really truly invested on being what you want to be. I don't want that type of environment. I don't want that type of energy. I don't want that. I want people to come to me that really truly want to get out and make something happen. If you want to email me to talk to me about maybe working with me, that link is in there. If you want to go to the site and check out the site and see some of the programs that you can access, or one of the courses that you can access and actually work with on your own, you can do that as well. But what you have to do, whether you work with me or not, whether you get one of my programs or not, is you're going to have to develop a mindset that understands how the universe responds to you and understands the role that you play in making things come to fruition in your life. That's going to be the determining factor on where you go. It's not going to be somebody giving you a shot, somebody saving you from where you're at, somebody showing up. You are going to create your reality by how you respond to the current situation you're in, how you change, how you look to change and grow that situation. You can never have what you have not yet become. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. And if you don't have it, that's because you haven't become it. It doesn't mean that you can't have it. It just means that you aren't there yet. So now what are you going to do about it? Prime example, my first book, I was so passionate about it because I related to it. And it had been with me since I was a student in high school. I had written an article about the invisible father, addressing absentee fatherhood. And I said, all right, I'm going to follow this up with a book one day. Well, finally, I write the book, and I come out and I take it to publisher after publisher, and they tell me it's well written. Matter of fact, it's exceptionally written. We believe it's empowering. We believe it has a purpose, but the market for it is too small. The investment it would take to push it and market it would not produce a return that we could be happy with. So we can't do it. And you're going to have a real problem publishing this because of that reason. So I created a situation where I created and started my own publishing company. I didn't want to go through the traditional self-publishing methods. I wanted to have more control, and I wanted to have a certain level of professionalism in how I handle things, and I wanted to be able to be at the controls. So I studied what it took to create a publishing house, and I created one. Now I'm on book number 19. And all but one of those books were published through my publishing company. Now get this, after being told no publishing company would ever publish me because I write non-fictional stuff, and what sells is fictional stuff like novels. Um, what I was told was that, and yet I had a publishing company come to me and request that I write my 16th book, which was The Miseducation of Black Youth in America. That came from a publishing company and gave me one of the best publishing deals that I've read about with any article. As far as percentage wise, James Patterson didn't get the type of split I got on my publishing deal. And that all came from a situation where I said, I'm going to write and I'm going to be published. I've published thousands of articles. I've published thousands of academic articles. But I was told that I couldn't publish. And I can go through businesses that I started and created that people told me wouldn't work, that I was going to lose money, that I wasn't going to be successful. And I can talk about endeavors and other things in which I've consistently stood up and said, I want it, I'm going to have it, whether it's houses, whether it's cars, all those things that used to matter to me way back when. And that I'm getting, I'm doing some things now that I've got my vision board sitting right there. And I'm telling you that I'm pulling things off and putting things on. And what I want you to do is get to the point to where you do the same thing. It's time to grow. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. What I am telling you is that you have the power. With that being said, I'm out of here. As I always say, I'm going to die on E. I encourage you to do the same thing. It has been awesome sharing with you, and you have an awesome day. And I am out. Peace.